I'm back with another video with Roberto here. If you didn't see our last video, we talked about branding. We had a conversation about the importance of it, how you go about defining your brand. It was pretty good, I think.
Yeah,
so,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you should go check it out. It'll be on a card and also linked down below. But anyway, if they didn't watch that, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com, helping you create something awesome today with my awesome friend Charlie.
Woo. So today, we're going to talk about learning design. I think I often get a lot of comments about how to get started in design and how to learn it. Do you as well get people asking about that?
I do, but I've made a couple of videos around the topic, but the thing is, I constantly refresh that because the space is always evolving.
How did you learn design? Like, what got you interested in it and where did you start?
Like, I went to design part of it as like a natural progression and evolution as a creative. When I was growing up as a kid, I was into illustration a lot. I was making my own comic books, so like I was inherently probably doing design.
Do you know what? I did, I made magazines by cutting out other magazines and arranging the layouts.
You know, a lot of creative directors got their start that way.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I never thought about that before as like being my start in design, but a couple of years ago I sort of realized that I was doing this when I was like 9 years old.
So I was doing that, like I was having to draw layouts of the frames of the comic books and do all that stuff the same way you would for like making a magazine with like doing that stuff and making titles. So like I was probably already on my way as an illustrator without thinking about it. I think I was always on a path to where I was going to or potentially become a designer, but I was convinced that I was going to be an animator. I thought I was going to work for Disney and that I was going to, be there, making the next great Disney classic or work for Marvel doing comics or something like that. That's what I thought was in store for me. But when I started realizing that I didn't feel personally, which I regret that I felt that way, like I didn't feel like I was good enough, but I had learned coding and web design at like 13 because I wanted to share my artwork and my photography on the internet.
And so you needed a website to share them on.
Exactly. So I learned how to build websites and I started building websites. I tried to do a webcomic. I tried to do all these different things, but I was learning more about design as a means of facilitating getting the thing that I wanted to do out there and exposed to people on the internet all over the world. I was already learning and probably was really good at like the programs at Photoshop and stuff like that.
And how did you learn this software? Was it from watching people that you worked with using it? Was it
at
just playing around?
Well, at this time, I'm still a kid. I'm still having to graduate high school yet. So there was no one like with that. And then even the people that I was working for commercially, they weren't the most technical people and super skilled, and they usually only knew how to do the one thing that their business required. So it was learning it by doing it on my own.
That's cool.
But I was learning to master the applications. I still hadn't learned design concepts and principles yet outside of web design.
I really like that you pointed that out because I find that's often something people think is that, oh, I'm going to learn how to use Photoshop and then I can be a designer. And I don't think that's the case.
No, it's really not. It's understandable to be naive when you're young.
Yes, definitely. It's understandable to think that that's the software designers use, so if I use that software, I can be a designer.
Right, it's like if you pick up a camera, are you automatically a photographer? Like, no, you have the potential to be.
Yeah, you've got the tools, but
So you need those principles. You need to know the rules of design. You need to know about things like the rule of thirds. You need to know about things like the golden measure. You need to learn about color theory, typography, and there's so many other things. And we had the benefit of design school.
Yes.
You went to university, I went to community college, but today, if that's a barrier as far as affordability, the beauty is that people can watch you and me, or they can watch like Sean Barry is a creative and art director that actually runs an agency in Toronto, Canada, and he really focuses on principles of design.
Even though you are now an established designer and you're working professionally, you've been doing this for years, you're still learning, right? Like I don't think learning ever stops with design.
It shouldn't. The minute you stop learning, you stop growing.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be intimidated by the fact that you're going to be trying to learn and grow for the rest of your life. There's no point where you just get to stop. And I'm sorry if that's uncomfortable for people, but that's reality.
It's the truth. And I think if you're wanting to be a designer, that will excite you rather than scare you because you're always wanting to learn new things and you're curious.
But as far as learning design, so you could go the route that we went, which is a combination of self-education and learning your tools yourself, because the other thing about university is a lot of times you don't have people who've mastered the tools.
Yes, in my classes, there was like a couple of classes in my first year about the tools, but for the rest of it, it was all about the concepts and about answering the briefs, and we had to learn how to use the tools ourselves in our own time from watching tutorials, just playing around with it like you were talking about, in order to bring our ideas to life.
But a lot of people go to university for is structure.
Yep.
But you could reverse engineer structure, and then if cost is a barrier to entry, well, lynda.com has real world practitioners, people that are even senior to us, that for $30 a month they would get access to. Hashtag not sponsored by Linda. You have these great resources. You have Skillshare, you have Udemy, you have Creative Live, you have YouTube that's completely free, you have books that you can buy, and there's also nothing like learning from a real world practitioner. Professors are great, but if you can find somebody that's actually working in the industry, the part of what you want to do, and if you can learn from them, if you can buy them a lunch, if that's what it takes, or you can do an internship. So many people graduate university, and like I think this was the same for you. You learned so much in that first year on the job.
Oh, definitely. Almost the same as I did in the whole 4 years at university. I think the key to learning design is to surround yourself, whether it's online or in real life, with people who are designers and who can talk about design thinking, and you can sort of like be a sponge and just immerse yourself in that.
Soak it up.
Yeah, and see how they talk about things, and how when they mention something, they're not just talking about what it looks like, they're talking about what problem it solves, and you can pick up on those little things and get to know the thinking side.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. It was great hearing how you got started, and hopefully it inspires some of you that if you're thinking about getting started in design, start right now. Now is the time to do it.
Start right now, and remember, you don't have to do it my way or Charlie's way or any way. There's so many opportunities and things that work for you, and that's why I listed all of those resources.
And they'll all be linked below.
Yeah, I mean, it matters. People have to find what works for them at their level of understanding and what they can afford and what's practical for them.
So try out a bunch, see what works for you, and just get started.
Find your fit.
Thank you very much, Roberto.
Yeah, no problem.
We're filming a couple of videos over on Roberto's channel as well, so make sure you're heading over and check those out. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and all the links to Roberto's social media and channel and everything will be down below as well. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.